Alrighty then, good morning. It is Mentorship Monday, 9:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's about 15 minutes before the open. Don't forget, trading is risky and all that business, but if trading is for you, this might also be the place for you. Welcome aboard, everyone.
What exactly is ALGO, and why do our traders absolutely love it?
Michael Oathroom. Are you ready indeed? Good morning, everybody. It is, of course, Mentorship Monday, which means we're going to answer a lot of the questions. If you got questions, this is a great day to bring them. First thing I'm doing here this morning, I am turning on full auto across the top. Pull you back to all of the charts. Let's see if I can get you to the big screen here, zoomed out to see all of the upper charts as well. Full auto, Enigma on. Arm long, arm short, full auto, Enigma on. Arm long, arm short, full auto, Enigma on. All right, I got the NERD, NERD, NASDAQ ES RTY, and the Dow for the 4. Plus oil. We got, gold. We got black gold and gold over here on the right. If you got any questions on any of that, do let me know. I'm going to get down here into the main area for me. Well, I am also, some people ask all the time, like, how is this full auto? Okay, well, there it is. We got full auto and Cyborg systems. So a lot of people only come over here and have seen me execute on discretionary. But again, I don't consider it just discretionary because we've got some algo assistance with our trading. So I kind of call it cyborg trading, the best mix of human and machine. So full auto Enigma is turned on up top. And let's see, what's our time? We've got 11 minutes before the open. So the way I settle in on things, you'll see these coins up here at the top. This is a physical thing right in front of me over on my desk on the left to kind of help me track. I'm looking for 5 trades. And within those 5 trades, I'm looking for 2 winners. Everybody's heard winner, winner, chicken dinner. Am I right? So I really just need 2 winners. And then I look for a bonus, depending on where I'm at in those 5 trades. But that is the SOP, Standard Operating Procedure, for numbers of trades, which is a risk management strategy. Our direction filter up there at the top left, just scrolled all the way to the bottom. We are currently on strong buy. This is a multi-instrument direction filter here. This tells me where the NERD is, the NASDAQ ES RTY, and the Dow currently. At any given moment, you know, those can begin to shift, and we want to know when they're shifting together and when we've got a potential outlier of one or the other or both of the primary instruments that we might be trading in that morning. I'm currently mostly on the Dow. I do have NASDAQ RTY, of course, ES, and crude oil and gold in my eyesight. We've upped our time frames on a lot of these due to the current volatility. The market has been extremely hot and a lot of crazy movements going on there with the markets. So if you're noticing that time frames are higher, it looks like things are a little bit slowed down here this morning so far. So I will probably drop this down here into the open, but I like to sit on hands there for the first 5 minutes. There was a nice 18.3 right there, calling the bottom on that Enigma plus a shark back. Ends up being a super shark back and a super moon, all in one, landing right there at the bottom. It is also, is that the open line? Yes, right at the open line as well. Nice set of confluence right there, which is a key to our trading. I'm going to close up this first trade I had here this morning under the NASDAQ. I had given this a little shot here under, yeah, I could have held that a little bit longer there. We have had, even from the bottom here, we have red, 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 red. That is the fourth red, and this was the fifth right here. And look to see if we could get something going there right under the open. Then the green showed up here, kind of ruined that idea there for holding for any longer on that one. So I was hoping we could come down a little bit farther than that. I'm going to be watching this area right in front of the open on the NASDAQ. As we get going here this morning, I am up on the 9s for my entry chart, which is insanity on the NASDAQ, but that is what the market has dictated recently. We will talk a little bit about that this morning. If you have been having issues with lockups this week, it is because you need to double and triple the bar size, especially on those algo bars. If you've been having issues there, type it in the chat. Type me a 2 in the chat if you have had issues. Type me a 1 if you've been following along with me, where I have been talking about it as the volatilities have gone up, and know about upping your time frames. And we'll start with some of that chat there this morning for our Mentorship Monday. We still have about 7 minutes before the open, and let me get the chat here on screen. Good morning, Patrick. Get some feedback from everybody going on there. And I do want to touch on the rules and goals on the bottom left there. We talked about the 5 or 6 trades there. 60 to 90 minutes is another. That is a time-based risk factor. And the 3-step entry rule. Very simple. The 3 steps. This may look complicated. It's not. Up here at the top left. Oops, I'm drawing on the wrong screen there. About here. Here we go. Over here on the top left, we got our direction filter. That's 1. Over here on the right, got a little arrow feature inside or outside of the fiddle zone. The best plays are going to come outside of this fiddle zone area. The fiddle zone area is this area here that you'll learn in our training series. We've got the boot camp coming up on the 21st. Make sure you sign up for the boot camp. algoboxpro.com/bootcamp, or check out the announcements there in the Discord and click the link. Easy way to get there. Step 1, step 2, I want those to match. And then step 3, I am hovering my fingers over the buy or the sell button, depending on what those two are lined up. If we're both green, then I'm hovering my finger over the buy. If they're both red, obviously the opposite, hovering over the sell. And then I'm looking for one of these. Here's our cheat sheet. Cheat sheet number 1 and cheat sheet number 2 for our entries, which there are 2 pillars to our entries: a structure and an RTOFA event. That is real-time order flow analysis event, which usually comes in the form of crosses. Those can be AO crosses, the green, red, pink, and blues, or the white crosses, which are going to be what we consider retail areas of interest. All right. Don James is in the house. Oh, yes. He's getting a reboot, too. We got the reboot camp. And we got Don James for the name reboot. I like it. Don James. It's got a nice ring to it. You know what I'm saying? Don James. Helping traders pick their trader funding programs. If you guys go check him out over there on Twitter, he is Don James at DJ Trades X. Let's see. Coming into high of day, I'm going to try that NASDAQ one more time here. We just popped in another red. What's our time? We got 4 minutes till the open here. Very interesting over on the Dow. Let me check our news in the room here. I'm going to type exclamation mark news. If we've got 10 a.m. news here. We've got, no 10 a.m. news today. So you guys check me on this. The next news event I see is 11 a.m. But you know how it is with news info. Sometimes one is updated and another's not. I am currently seeing the next news event at 11. Real-time protection reminder. Yes, let's make sure we turn that off there. I did get mine done there this morning. Real-time protection turned off. Make sure that data is flowing through nicely without being, scanned on every bar that's coming through. Don James has been rebooted. I like it. Okay, I see mostly ones typed in there. I didn't see any twos. That is great. And tweaking NT. Yes, Don can help you guys if you're tweaking out your NT for your charts or picking out trader funding programs. He is the man with the plan. Good morning, Mr. Canfeld. I see Missile in the house here. Good morning, Johnny. We've got 2 minutes. Rodney Daniels in the house here this morning. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Eddie. Good morning, Richard. Andrew, good morning. Daniel D, good morning. Chris AR, great to see you. Good morning. Good morning, Douglas. Myers here again for another week. Great to see you. Kevin. Oh, we got a new one. Dan06. Good morning. Good to see you. Marcin, that's a new name. I haven't seen you. Good morning. Great to see you with us. Gardy is in the house. Good morning, Greg. I see Tom K. Sharp is in the house. Good to see you again this week. Plutonium. The legend himself. Mr. Gardner. Ninja Scalp. Love to see it. Good morning, good morning. Here we go, Delta Shift. All right, let's see if we've got a play here. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna actually down this to, I'm gonna try the threes here before the open. We are kind of slowing down here. Yeah, this is slow enough. This is nice. All right, so here's the threes. We have an interesting area here. On the fives, I had seen that Delta Shift, so I kind of wanted to come down here to see what's here. We had red, red, green. Got a cluster here. This could be a triple red. I'm going to go ahead and arm long, arm short, full auto on my other account here as well. So full auto, Enigma on, and Super AOs. Go quantity 2, and I'm going to pop in on 4 smalls to start. All right, I'm going to close up that other trade there on NQ. So that did end up coming down right there. After it touched into the high, we did a little 3 drives, and here comes the open. I wanted to, it went farther, of course. Should have held on to it a little bit longer, but I was a little bit nervous right in front of the open, honestly. So trade number 1, I would still call that trade number 1. Not going to be a twofer, even though it feels like it was 2. Really just a 1 here. Go ahead and take a shot at this first trade. Targets filled on the HMD. That's trade number 1 and trade number 2. Now that one didn't fire off automatically. Why? Pop quiz. Why did that one not full auto for me on that one? Give you a hint. All right, trade number 1 and trade number 2 literally 50 seconds into the market open, and I'm done. Did I make enough to put food on the table? Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Can I put a chicken dinner on the table for the fam? Yes. Okay, so now I just need a little bonus. I don't say I need, but I just use those terms. Like, now I'm going to be looking for my bonus play. So I want to look for a little bonus in here somewhere. See if I can add to that a little bit. We've got double greens here. Currently strong sell. So remember my 3-step. I just want to get these coordinated. I've got red arrow and red on the nerd right now. So hovering finger over the sell. Good idea here. And we'll look to see if we can get a decent setup. Remember, I want it to be absolutely perfect here. And I try to sit on hands here for the first 5 minutes as this gets shaken out. Sometimes it gets a little wild in here. So my personal expectation is to just relax. I got 3 minutes to just kind of do nothing. Thank you, Eddie. 1955 in 10 minutes is $11,730 per hour. I always like that. Thinking through the hourly rate there. Good morning, Melbourne Kiter. Great to see you. Good morning, Petro. Jonathan, I see you there. Good morning. Jay-Z, thanks for saying hello. Good morning, Abby. It's a new name I haven't seen. Thanks for saying hello. Jay Collins in the house. Good morning. I'm unclear how to change from range bars to algo bars and or adjust algo bars. Sure, let's talk about that here. I got a couple minutes to sit on hands here. I've got full auto turned on. Now, I have turned some of the NinjaTrader sounds down, but I'm realizing that I think we're actually back to a good place here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the sound settings back on. Go ahead and turn NinjaTrader sounds back up, and let's see. Okay, I don't hear anything too wild here this morning. So we got the sounds back on here. Good morning, Dr. Leaf. Not paid to be a fiddler. I did get some feedback around participation in live streams. I'm going to actually turn mine down a bit because some people have said they get a little bit confused with their own sounds versus mine. So I'm going to try this today. I'm going to turn my sounds way down. I don't really need my sounds. For me, they're more of a nice to have. I'm still highly visual, and then I do have audio box that I can listen into there as well. But if I kind of turn it down a bit. Good morning, Dork. Great to see you. And there's Eddie throwing in a link to you there. Set up your algo bars super fast. If you go into our room and type !algo bars.
Double delta NQ on the 9. Lower bands touch YM on the 34.
Type properly, not algo bars. That will get you a video on how to set that up. When you're going through training, it's video number 2 and number 3, I believe. Once you get into the meat of those in premium, how to set up your algo bars and the difference in those and range bars. Let me know if that helps you, if you've got something more specific.
Lower bands
there, Jay Collins.
On the 89.
Good morning, Trung. Good morning, Captain Rex. You are correct. It was in that neutral zone of the fiddle zone. That earlier trade, why it didn't full auto. I've got the fiddle zone filter turned on, so that was going to filter out that trade there for me. Okay, we're past the 5 minutes here, so I'm going to turn full auto off here, and I'm going to go ahead and manually take over. And I'm going to look for my bonus play. Good morning, my friend.
Fib.ym on the 3 on the 9. Double delta EM on the 6.
Just 100 million an hour. We can cover the interest in the U.S. debt. Yeah, I like it. That debt calculator stresses me out. What about you guys? Every time I see that thing come on a television program, I'm like, oh man, it stresses me out.
Lower bands touch NQ on the 89. Fib.ym on the 3.
Okay, so currently, red and red. So step 1, step 2, covered. Got my finger over the sell.
YM on the 3. Fib.ym on the
Waiting for an absolutely perfect play here. Now we just went to neutral
YM on the 3.
and green. Neutral green. And now they are opposites, so I'll just hold.
Lower
So I'm going to skip on that one.
89.
That is a moonshot long right there, but we've got red strong sell and green over on the right. So conflict, and we are flat as flat can be inside of that fiddle zone area. So I can just kind of relax here. I'm going to see if I can hold out and wait till we pop outside of that fiddle zone area before I take a bonus.
Lower bands touch NQ on the 89.
Good morning, MZ. Great to see you. So, what do you guys think about that idea of keeping the NinjaTrader sounds down a lot lower here for the live streams? Does that help you guys so that it's not kind of, you're not hearing mine and yours at the same time, or is it still, even as faint as it is it still kind of an issue? Because I have thought about, well, I could direct it only to myself somehow. I'll work with the sounds.
Fib.ym on the 34.
You like it that way?
Fib.ym on the 3.
Sounds lower, much better. Okay, great. Good. So that way yours local to you is, yeah, so some good feedback, and we'll go ahead and done something about that. Also keeping the music down a lot more tame while we are running through, so you can also listen to your own music if you like. Not forced to listen into whatever I've got going on there.
M on the 3. Double delta NQ on the 9. Lower bands touch YM on the 34.
Okay, did I miss any other questions? So backing up, did that answer your question? I forget who had said that earlier. J something. Mr. J, did that answer your question on the algo bars versus range bars, or did you have something more specific, or is that video going to help you out there? Awesome.
Lower bands touch YM on the 34. Lower bands touch YM on the 34.
Okay, we are outside the fiddle zone now and coming into potential masher. The most recent masher was right about here. There's delta shift number 2 in a row. There's a battle right here. So that says get ready.
NQ5.
So I'm going to look to take the next play here. Currently red and red.
Lower bands touch YM on the 34.
Okay, now it just shifted red green off of the masher. Okay, we're beyond the 15 bars there where I could take it right after the shift, so just want to wait. There's a super dot short right there. Could have pressed that button and I didn't press it. Okay, so that one probably was one of the easiest plays. That is a super dot short right there at the top of the channel as well. Missed that one.
Double delta EM on the 3.
Talking through. Sometimes talking is
Lower bands touch
a little bit more complicated than you might think it might be. And talking too much and thinking through things there got me caught off sides there thinking about that one.
Double delta NQ on the 9. Lower bands touch YM on the double YM on the 3.
Oh, YM 35. Thank you so much. Not 34 this week. 35. All right. 35R. Thank you for that. 35 range for the Dow on the optimized range. Thank you so much for that catch.
Lower bands touch NQ on the 8.YM on the 3. Double delta NQ on the 9. Enigma long on the YM3.
We got two things in conflict there. We got green and red here, so I'm going to skip on that one. Again, I want to get something absolutely perfect here.
Divergence up NQ on the 89. Fib.YM on the 3.
Yeah, we got green and neutral, and then back to red on the nerd. Red nerd currently. Just waiting. Remember, all I need is my bonus now. I don't say I need it. I don't have to have it. I have got winner chicken dinner. Here, 2 wins on the morning, and I can just settle in, be satisfied with what we put on the board. Much better lower. Awesome, Plutonium. Yeah, hopefully we can spread the word on that for our members, and maybe because I have heard, like, asked one of our members, I'm like, well, why is it that you don't, attend during, and they'll like come after they're done with their trading? And they said it was for that reason, and it just kind of like, I was like, that makes sense. I hadn't thought of that a little bit more than that. Because especially on YouTube, there is about a 5 or 10 second delay. I believe we checked on Friday and it was about 6 seconds.
Lower bands touching on the 89.
Good morning, Rick.
Double delta EM on the 3.
Good morning, noob. Great to see you. Okay, we got double ready DDs back to back here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and give a shot at this one here. Just off of a double ready. Let's see if that's going to get me any bonus here right at the top of the channel. It's just, came in with a green dot. I'm going to close it. All right, taking a loss on that one. So I'm going to close that up pretty quick. Came into, end up being a super dot long, and we just went green and green. And a kind of a skip point there. Look at that. Ended up skipping over. Moderate buy went straight to strong buy. So close that one out pretty quick there for a minor loss on trade number 3. Now, I was thinking of that on my bonus, but now I am going to go ahead and we're on a live stream. So you know what to do. You know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead, give myself another shot at that one.
Upper bands touch YM on the 35. Fib.ym on the 3.
Running the live stream on a second machine to separate it from my platform. Oh yeah, that's a smart idea. It's a smart idea for sure.
Double delta eam on the
To kind of get the best of both worlds, where you can, you know, hear your own local, but also, you know, listen into any insights that we might see here. Yeah, I'm seeing triple red here. Again, triple red. I think we're going to be coming back down. I just heard the first tap. There's red on
Fib.ym on the 3.
the MACV. Now just see if we can get a neutral over here on the nerd. There we go. All right, and looking for that piercer there. There's a green dot right there.
Target.
Okay, target's filled on that one, so kind of back to where I was before. I don't think that was a great play, so I am going to kind of reset myself here on that. Don't happen a little too quick for my liking there, but we had triple reds, so we get this straight leg up. Remember, I'll tell you guys a lot in here. Don't really trust those straight up sexy legs, you know what I'm saying? Like no stubble on them whatsoever, super smooth, overly smooth. They're just there to kind of tempt you into position. And the distance here and here does look a little sus as well. So triple red, there was 1, 2, and 3. Titanic zone type of scenario there. Red dot came in at the back side of it. Only thing we didn't have was the nerd, but we did have the red over here on the right, and then it shifted into neutral, and as soon as I saw that neutral come in on the nerd, I went ahead and started into that position on that play. Simple as just basically matching colors.
Fib.ym on the 3.
I would not recommend doing that, Jay Collins. You can do whatever you want, but if you're asking me what I would do, I would definitely not recommend doing that. Very bad habit. Plutonium said that the best way one time. Plutonium, are you still here? Do you have, no, you're probably in the middle of trading there. I hate to bother you, but you said it absolutely perfectly about
Double delta NQ on the 9.
we had discussed. People want to simplify, air quotes here, their workspaces, things like this. I'm homing in on 3 to 4 setups. Can I modify AlGo to only show me those setups? You know, you said something. It was like you, me, and George in a conversation, and you know there were people asking about, well, should I use a simplified workspace because the other thing is getting. But the thing is like if you're missing out on practice, and you said it in a really good way. Like I just kind of call it, you're missing out not necessarily on practice, but even as you are seeing your setups, you need to see it in and amongst the other things that are going on, so that you can add additional confluence to your current thinking. But when you're like trying to clear everything, you're not really practicing being able to see your play setup through the context of other things, and you don't know what you don't know. But I don't know how to shorten the statement of that. I'm trying to think of, if you're going to hear it my way, I've got a lot to say about why I don't believe it's a good idea to pull things off of your chart that I believe need to be there for you to catch all context, whether it is high time frame, tight time frame above it. You need to know when something is working against you. It's another thing is, so if you're like, okay, well, I got a headshot long here, I'm just going to go headshot long, but you don't know that there's like, I don't know, a 2-finger salute over on the right that's working against you, and you just didn't take that into consideration, and you're over there practicing without it. How do I say that in the most succinct way possible? But I'm glad he asked. Because I know it's like, oh, well, it's natural to think, oh, maybe I'll just not put that on there. But I just don't think that was a good idea. You are doing yourself a disservice.
Fib.ym upper bands touch NQ on the 89. Double delta EM on the YM on the 35.
That's what it is. Okay, look, Plutonium, I am telling you right now, this guy is full of wisdom, okay? I have personally taken advice from this man. He kind of talked me into doing 4 6s for my primary entries after seeing the numbers he puts up. There he goes. He says, but by only having limited indicators, you are removing unconscious learning. That's what I couldn't remember. Unconscious learning of the rest of the package, which is the end goal. Limiting the entries is the desired effect. It also teaches patience. Yeah. And so that removing your unconscious learning, the unconscious learning part of that, in context of whatever your 3 or 4 play setups are, where are they coming in context to the other items that are coming in? You don't want to do that. You need to practice seeing your setups through what right now you see as noise because you don't understand what's happening in those. But the more that you see them, you're getting, I love that, unconscious learning. I'm going to try to lock that one into my brain. Unconscious learning. If you guys are watching this later, if you can type unconscious learning so that I can remember it too, down in the comments on this video afterwards, or if you're here in the current live chat, let's type that one out. Your unconscious learning while you're doing your market replay with your play setups. Don't just have it just your play setups. I know it's very tempting, and you know, if we're going to do a training video, you know, we might show the charts stripped of everything else to kind of show you what you're looking for, but that is not how you should be practicing. You are missing out on a lot of contextual information and other things that might be going on in the market at that time if you have turned that off.
Double delta NQ on the
Unconscious learning. I love that one. Showing your comments twice. I don't see that. I don't think it's YouTube is not actually showing them twice. Not that I see. Maybe it's just on your side, but I don't see that. So I wouldn't worry about it.
NQ on the 9. Double delta EM on the 3.
Okay, what's our time? 9:54.
Upper bands touching on the NQ, double delta NQ on the 9. Upper bands touch NQ on the 89.
Reversing.
Fib.ym on the 3.
Total value is greater than the sum of its parts. Man, you guys are so smart. That's why I love having conversations with you guys. I just feel like I get smarter just by listening to George and Plutonium, having chats with those guys. At the end of it, I'm just like, you know what? I got a lot of stuff out of that conversation. Good folks to have a chat with. Good. Definitely pay attention to what they're saying there in our chats out in the public areas there. Smart guys in here.
Fib.ym on the 3.
Like learning to drive in other cars on the road. Well, I don't know. Well, I don't want to argue with you on that, but I think that's driving with no other cars on the road is, I think, good because there's literally safety. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a sim thing. Definitely still want to be doing it in sim, but in your in your practice,
Fib.ym on the 9. Fib.ym.
yeah, I mean, I guess there is value to that. But if you had to be able to choose between I don't know, the car thing, it's a whole different animal on the cars potentially, I think. I don't know. I'll think on that one.
Fib.ym on the.
But that's more for the usually the child's safety, you know, learning to drive your car at 15, 16, and like, we're not going to put you on the road ahead of time because all right, I'm going to flatten the bots. They're at about 2,000. Flatten, full auto on, full auto off. Now, I'll give another key piece. I'll say key. But one of my pro tips on when I'm going to turn off the bots or flatten all in this situation. So let me zoom back out here to show the bots here. Let's see what. Okay, so if I'm going to press flatten all, remember in a scenario where I've got multiple instruments. Now again, you do not have to do this. By the way, this is advanced. This is normally for, it's probably a Friday, advanced Friday, full auto Fridays. Remember on Fridays, I'm doing the advanced level chats, but this is a little advanced. So if you're confused by this or whatever, don't be. It takes some time. You'll learn full auto later. Please focus. I think you should focus on Cyborg first, personally. Because once you understand how to do something by hand, it makes a lot more sense when you've got full auto. Okay? And watching through is a whole different animal of things. But anyhow, just sometimes it's one of those where you may not know what you don't know, and you don't know why you don't know it. Sometimes you just got to trust me. Like, and I hate to do the whole trust me thing, because anytime anybody says, oh, trust me, bro, I hate that. I can't stand that. But in this is that scenario, I can't fully explain to you why you should start on Cyborg first, other than you really need to know how to do it because you are managing employees. I think of it as bots. They're just executing what I would do first, and you need to know what they're doing. You don't want your employees knowing more than you, right? I don't think, if you're running a business. Anyhow, okay, off of my tangents, what I wanted to show you on the pro tip technique is out of all of these, I'm going to start it out with a question to reinforce this whole thing. My question is, if I've got 6 of these to choose from, and I'm going to press the flatten all, and I can only press the flatten all button on one, but remember what flatten all does, right? Because, well, I guess probably start with that because some people don't know. Like, what is the point of having the flatten all button? Oops, I got 2 of these here. Pulls it up. I need to refresh this chart here. Hold on, let me press F5 here. I don't have 2 on the chart. Getting 2 on here. Oh, it's only on the Dow. Is that because I don't know why I have 2? Hold on, let me solve this mystery real quick. No, I don't want to go into that because if I do that, then the whole thing. I don't know. So let me move this up here for a minute. Okay, ignore the fact that there's 2 there, 2 there right now. So flatten all. Flatten all, if I press flatten all, that is literally going to, it's the difference between flatten all versus close. The flatten all is going to flatten everything in that account. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Flatten all is going to flatten all positions open on that account. So I am running my full auto on a separate account than my manual. Okay, these are not the same number. Okay, this is 2160 in one account and 2001. It just happens to be that they're at 2000. It's just because I closed it out when it hits at 2000 just a moment ago.
On the 6.
But I'm hitting flatten all. It's not going to close my other account. Does that make sense? Everybody type a 1 if you know that. It's only going to close out everything in the account associated with where the flatten all is pressed. Some people think it flattens everything in all accounts. That is not true. Flatten all will close everything in the account it is associated with, which is going to lead to my next thought-provoking question, is if I have 6 to choose from, if I can hit flatten all here, or here, or here, or here, or here, or here, out of 6 instruments,
YM3.
Now, if any of them will work, but is there a best choice? That is the question. So we always come down to, you know, what Vinny's always trying to search for is, okay, well, we can do all these things. There's lots of ways to trade, but what is the best? I am a best enthusiast. I want to find out the best way to do something. So the question is there a best practice here? What is our best practice? For which instrument do I choose to press the flatten all button on, and why? Let's think about that one. You think about that for a minute, and maybe if you've got an answer for it, type it there in the chat. And I am going to explain my reasoning, how I came to the conclusion. And yes, this is not a trick question. There is a best answer for this, and I'll explain why. Trick question. Color was ICT Supra. Is that the yellow one?
On the YM4.
Yeah, he had a yellow Supra. George says, any fastest moving. Plutonium also said the fastest. Okay, that is 2. And you guys are both correct. Yes, if you were thinking the fastest one, the one closest to your mouse when you need it, not quite. NQ, the most volatile. Yes, so you're down the right path right there. So yes, several of you had mentioned either the fastest one, again, whichever one. Like you might not be on NQ. If you didn't have NQ because you're like, hey, you know what, I found like NQ is the most volatile. It moves around too much. I don't like having NQ. I don't do NQ. You're just a non-NQ player. Then fine. But the one I'm going to press because I've got NQ is going to be NQ. Because what happens is when I press flatten all on this panel, it will also disable it. Okay. So if I have full auto on right there, no, I don't have those two on right there. Actually, I'm going to do arm long, arm short. But imagine that I also had the Enigma on right there. Watch what happens when I press flatten all. I'm going to do control 4. This might give us a little zoom in there. So when I press F4, watch these buttons up top. That full auto is going to turn off. Flatten all, and you notice everything goes off here. Everything is off because there is a next set of steps. Because it will not turn off this one over here. Arm long, arm short, Enigma on over here. So if I press flatten all, long, arm short, full auto, nothing there. If I press flatten all, watch over here, nothing is going to turn off. I'm going to press flatten all. Bloop. This one is completely off, but this one might still be on. So if this one took a play, when I hit flatten all, because that can happen. The market can be super fast like the other day, like multiple times last week when the market was super hot. And I'm like, I want to close everything right now. And I had it happen to me. I literally pressed flatten all, and then boom, like there was a series of Enigmas that just happened to be showing up right there. And boom, it entered in on this one. I had to come over and press flatten all again. Okay. Or, you know, turn it off before I could come over here and press this button. So here's the process. Is once I hit flatten all, boom, that flattens everything. It also disables the one that I press it on. But now I have to go over here and I have to turn full auto off. Full auto off. Off, off, off. Does everybody understand? Type of 1 if you do, 2 if I need to review. But I got to go around and turn them all off. Okay. And remember, I only have to press one button to turn them off. I just have to turn off full auto. Or I could turn off the Enigmas or Super AOs. But main thing is you just disable this row right here. This little middle row, semi-auto or full auto. In this case, normally it's going to be full auto. I just literally just have to turn the full auto off. Without one of these two on, doesn't matter what everything else is. I can have Enigma on, Super AO on, all these different items on. But if something is not on this row, it's not going to fire a trade. Okay. So I only have to turn off full auto. So that means when I've got 6 instruments, I have to press 6 buttons. It is identical to the numbers of instruments that you have open with full auto on. The number of instruments is exactly how many times you will need to click. Now, you might think, well, what about the one that you did the flatten all on? Remember, when I press flatten all, that's one button, and it turns off everything here. So I do not have to press full auto off, right? So 1, flatten all, click, boom. Off. Click 2, ES, full auto off. Full auto off, full auto off. And the best way to do it would be go from your most, like you want to put your volatile ones together so that you kind of go down those first. Because again, you're trying to mitigate a opening of another position. And the more bars that are being printed at any given moment, you know, the fastest thing is going to put out the most, hopefully you get that. So I would like to go from the fastest, if I'm trying to go the best, if I get in a habit, to go from the fastest down to the slowest. So ES I might leave for last. So I might move my mouse down this way because these are the most volatile. Gold is not more than crude. I would probably switch these if I wanted crude down below. The main thing for me is I want to get these two turned off pretty quickly here on the NASDAQ and the Dow. Okay, I want to make close off and this one. So first one, I'm hitting Flatten All. I'm turning this one off, pop it over here, and usually I'm just kind of working my way around this way. I go this way, and then I come back up this way and end on ES. Now, I'm not saying to do that every single time, but I am trying to get in my own habit on my layout here for the live streams with you guys to go in this way to disable things when I am closing out position. Make sense? Got a lot of ones. Any twos? Man, you guys are smart. Did not have any twos in here on that. Wonderful. No full auto Friday this Friday. That's right. It is Good Friday this weekend. Don't forget we have a short week as we celebrate Good Friday and the sacrifice of Jesus Christ himself for us, and the only one of all who rose themselves from the dead. Pretty amazing. Okay, so we've got, let's get back down here to the bottom charts. And I think I put in my bonus. Did I? No, we were looking for another bonus there. So yeah, checking over here. We do not. I mean, I could have counted this one as my bonus, but I'm going to be here a little bit longer here. Let's see if we can get another trade. Let's get another trade, shall we? Now, I realize I'm increasing my risk. I need to acknowledge that by continuing to trade. And we are 2 minutes from coffee time. So I do want to take a break here in about 2 minutes. So I will hopefully not have an amazing trade right here before the coffee time, which is literally in 2 minutes. We should start seeing the background change here any moment. If I have my time regions turned on, which it looks like I do not.
Upper bands touch YM on the 89. Fib.ym on the 3.
Yeah, because if you're trying to flatten at that point and you're like, okay, I want to take that money, boom, I want to take it. And the next thing you don't want is, you know, you hit another trade and it's like, okay, you know, it wiggles a little bit on you and ends up taking a little away. Of course, it can work both ways on that, but when you're trying to pulls out because you feel like, okay, that thing is kind of maxed out on the day, that's good. Headshot worked for 20 ticks. Let's see, this one right here. Yes, 29 ticks on that headshot. So could you have gotten 20 out of that? Yes. And remember, I'm on the 3s here, so these are a bit bigger than normal. On the 1s or 2s, where we'd normally, I would say, where I would normally be, but I am. Normally, I'm going to be on a lower time frame. But with the volatility that's been coming in to the markets, I have bumped up my bar size here. And we were as high as 5s last week. It was some quite insane volatility last week.
Double delta EM on the 3.
Goes on with the market during coffee time? Oh, that's a good question. Now, I know we've had several videos on this one. Let me consult my local expert on our trainings. Eddie, do you know or have that video handy marked for where I might have really gone in detail on the conversation around the 10:10 to 10:30 time window and the exchange of hands, what I like kind of think of the exchange of hands video? I'll try to walk it through, but it would be good to have, if we do have a video handy, or if anybody's got it in their notes where I talk specifically about why coffee time, which is right now, by the way. It's 10:10 right now. So good time for me to go and grab that coffee. So the first 40 minutes of the day, that's from 9:30 a.m. Eastern time to 10:10, that is 40 minutes. Now, there are a set of what I call forced hands who have to play in the early mornings, and those are the 401k funds. So particularly around the 1st and 15th of the month, 401ks are usually a lot of funds come into those from people's paychecks. People generally get paid on the 1st and the 15th. Now, some people are biweekly, and so some of that gets a little bit off, but generally speaking, you do have people who are paid either once a month, twice a month, or every 2 weeks in general. And when they've got their 401ks set up, so that money has to be, allocated as quickly as possible. So as soon as the market opens, in fact, if you've ever, old school called up your broker and said, hey, I want to open up a trade on whatever, fill in the blank, Apple, Microsoft, Google, somebody, and you want to go place that trade, they'll say, okay, by default, we're going to place that at tomorrow's open, or unless you specify when you would like that to be taken. You're like, nope, as soon as possible. Great. Okay, tomorrow morning's open. You will, we'll get you, and we'll give you a spot price on what that is when we buy it tomorrow morning, because they don't even know what price it is. You're like, yeah, I want to buy 100 shares of Apple tomorrow morning, or as soon as possible. And they're like, okay, well, the market opens tomorrow morning. Or do you want us to buy after hours? And they'll charge you more, and there's a whole slippage thing and all that kind of whatnot that could happen. So most of the time, they're like, okay, we'll fill those orders in the morning, which is, now that's if you're calling one in manually, but the same thing with 401ks. Those are going to be filled immediately, and immediately is oftentimes the next morning. So it just lands on that date. So forced hands, things that you do know. Now, you don't know everything. It's impossible for any trader to know everything at every point, to know all things that are going on at any given moment on any given market, especially when there are indexes involved. But the things that you do know, so let's talk about those. And that's where I go to that 10:10 area. Why we, I want to say cut off at 10:10, but that first 30 minutes is the time where they've got to fill those orders in the first 30 minutes. Okay, they're not going to wait longer than that. At the same time, you'll start to have this exchange of hands right there between 10 and 10:10. But it's right there, right after that, all of a sudden it's like, okay, now we've seen the move. Now oftentimes there will come a counter set of hands to the move, because like all of these hands had to buy, or all these hands had to sell, or whatever have occurred. The forced hands are done. Now the next set of hands that have flexibility are now starting to step in. So I just like to think of it as that little chatter of back and forth has now occurred, and new sets of hands are coming in after the forced hands are completed. And so it can be, in my opinion, I don't want to say more dangerous, but yes, for lack of better terms, it can be a more dangerous location as the next set of hands start to come in there. So kind of let them shake out, let them settle in, do their thing. See, it's getting, you kind of see how it's getting a little wild right now, right here at 10:15, but it's been, oh, really fast up. Nope. And then we're coming down. There's a lot of fakery going to kind of start to happen in here. And that can catch you offside sometimes. If you watch it enough times and kind of see what I'm talking about. Now, there can be some great moves in there as well. But it's one of those where it's like, I want to mentally, remember standard operating procedure, I want to tell myself, this is a time when I can take.
Lower bands touch YM on the 35.
Does that make sense? Awesome. Thanks, Alpha. Appreciate that. Captain Rick said that, remember that now? Okay, so it is in a video somewhere, yes? Eddie threw it down. 10:10 to 10:30. There we go on ALGO Box Clips. There it is. The man with the plan right there. Can you also post that in the public chat in Discord? So we'll come back and reference that later.
Double delta NQ on the 9 on the 4.
Eddie is the man with the plan. That's why he is the COO, baby. Keeps things running around here. He knows everything about everything. Okay, and I did just, my last sip of coffee there was a little cold, I'll be honest. So I'm going to go heat that up if that's all right with you guys. And then we'll, if you guys got some questions, you guys are bringing some great questions here this morning. If you got some more, bring them on. Is that all the pensions, corporate stuff happening? Yes. George, sorry I missed that comment, but yes, exactly. Pensions, corporate stuff happening, yes. They're kind of the forced hands. I feel like there's another set of forced hands that I might be missing. 401ks, yeah, and you had mentioned the pensions, corporate items that are required to take their trades at the open. I feel like there was another set of hands. I'll think on it while I'm grabbing that coffee, but if you guys can think of another set of hands that might be coming in and exchanging there at the open, let's type that there in the chat. And yeah, bring some more questions there, and we will. I'm still looking for my bonus, so I'm gonna try to get my bonus there after this 10:10 to 10:30 coffee break time. So let's grab that, and I'll be right back. It's coffee time.
Lower bands
from trading? Of course I have.
How about now? Mic check, mic check. Alrighty then. Coffee time is over. Let's get back to business. We've got a bonus trade to hunt down here. And when I say we, I mean me. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. All right. How's everybody doing? Let's get some coffee emojis. Where's that coffee emoji at? Let's spam that chat with some coffee, shall we? Who doesn't like coffee? I mean, we can all agree. Is there anybody who doesn't like coffee? You know, I guess there is. Actually, there are people who don't like coffee. Are there any anti-coffee people here today? Or you don't know? Does everybody like coffee? How many of you guys are the coffee alternative people? Like, what do you do? Tea? Broth? Broth? Dork loves coffee. Oh, there's one. Hates coffee. Dak, tell us about that. I always want to know about the special people. So, Dak, tell us about what's it like not drinking coffee? I mean, I wish I could. What do you do if you're not a coffee drinker?
Upper bands touch YM on the 30.
What's life like? What do you do? Is it generally like health enthusiasts that don't drink coffee? Is it... Maybe are they younger? Dak, if you wouldn't mind, like, give me an age category. You don't have to tell me exactly your age, but like, what's your age range? Are you in your 20s, 30s, 40s? Like, I'm wondering if this is one of those that you're going to grow into. Kind of curious. Or if you're, I'm insulting you and you're like, I'm 73, bro. There's no growing into it for me. Lowe's Biomaterial, love coffee. Excellent. Oh, I just smudged up my glasses like crazy, man. Oh, that's... Oh, it just made it worse. Here. Yeah, that whole mushroom thing, I don't understand that. I'm not even even tempted. Who did invent coffee?
YM on the 35.
Coffee, bone broth, tea, polyphenols. Dak, what is life like? Come on, I really actually want to know.
Upper bands touch NQ on the 89. Double delta.
Life is sleepy without coffee. Let's see. Okay, we got green and green. Step 1 and step 2. Fingers over the buy currently. Or again, I'm just looking for my bonus. It is now 8 minutes. Still the top of the hour. I'm not anti-coffee, but I don't drink it. I don't need it. Oh, interesting. Well, you need hydration though. So in the morning, what do you do for a beverage in the morning, Eddie? What's that like? $47. All right. Don't like the taste or smell of it and drink a lot of water. All right. Only drink water with my supplements. Ah. Very nice. Water and supplements. No caffeination. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, we're coming up into a masher. And very steep. And there's first retail cross here. And that is top of the crown. What about these from before? Valley, 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 valley. Oh yeah, so we rally. Okay. Now top of crown. I think we might be going down, folks. I'll be honest. I think we are probably ready to come back down. It's a great song, speaking of. You know what? I haven't heard that song in forever. The 90s song. It just came to mind. That's some bush. Gotta wait about 5 minutes till the top of the hour. So let's see. Hopefully Bush doesn't get us banned. Let's see.
Double delta
Does love and hate get in a room? They'll cut you right back down to size. Sleep of the day because you don't have any coffee. Hey, what? That's part of the lyrics. You didn't know? Obviously part of the lyrics. Okay, we got 5 minutes. Double delta shift. Okay, so this could be a 40 tick play in the opposite way here. Let's see if I can grab it. I'm going to go none here. '90s were the best for music. You can't debate it. If you want to debate about it, I will destroy you. That's not a debate you want to have. That is a losing argument if you're trying to bet against the 90s music. All right, so that DDSR played out like a boss there. Top of the crown. That was almost too easy. I was like, it can't be that easy. Is it really going to be that easy today? Okay. Did it move its 40 ticks? I'm sure. Oh, it moved 100 ticks. So yeah, could have got the 40 bag. When it all comes down, I don't want to come back down from this cloud. It's taking me all this time to find out what I need. Yeah, I need some ALGO box in my back. Let's go. Could have grabbed that Gartley. Okay, well that one definitely came back down. It didn't want to come back down from this cloud, but it had to. All right, such a great song, and went right along with that. I literally was like, come back down. That's a great song, isn't it? Because I was wondering if this was going to come back down, and sure enough, DDSR. Now, we just had a really great teaching, training, talk through on, was that Friday we did that DDSR? Double Delta Shift Reversal. Since it is a Mentorship Monday after all, go ahead and double Delta Shift Reversal. Now, difference, all that kind of whatnot. What's the point? DDSR, double delta shift. So DDSR, it's a delta shift. So if you zoom in, you'll actually see the text of that says shift. It is a delta shift, and we got double. We got two of them right next to each other, DDSR, and I'll grab these for a 40 tick bag nearly every single time, especially when inside of an accumulation zone. So if we are developing this accumulation zone here, Now I will take another one. If there's one shows up down here, I'll take it long. If it's going up here, I'll take it short. And yeah. So let's see it out here. So I kind of missed this one here. Still talking a little bit. I won't say too much. Not enough to pay attention and grab my bonus trade. Again, now I'm just trying to add to the kitty here. We're up over 4K on the day between my two accounts. Which again, we are top of the hour now, 11:02. As soon as I take my bonus trade, I will pull out the stats. We'll see the actual stats on the day there between two accounts, Full Auto and Cyborg.
Fib.ym on the 3. Fib.ym on the 3. Lower bands touch NQ on the 89. Upper bands touch YM on the 89. Fib.ym on the 3.
Okay, this is where we had retail crosses before. Let me press F6 here, and let's draw a couple of lines right there where they were originally located. And stopped at the bottom. We got Jagged on the tape. We need a Jagged warning. Jagged on the tape.
Lower bands touch NQ on the 35.
A big play coming. Spent a lot of time outdoors this weekend and a little sunburn, and I got stuffy nose going on. I got runny stuff. Hate to gross about it, but I'm over here dealing with stuffy stuff. Jagged. What I'm expecting is a trap and a move.
NQ5.
Doesn't always happen, but
Lower bands touch
it does. You do not want to be in the way. Keep your stops tight. If you're on the wrong side of it, you're in trouble. If you're on the right side of it, we can ride it down and or up. Down or up, depending.
Fib.ym on the 3.
And potential Dr. Seuss. Okay, red and red. So the cipher would have been the entry, but we didn't have an RTFA event. It's too far away.
Divergence up YM on the 9.
Okay, divergence just showed up there on the 9s.
Lower bands touch NQ on the 89. Double delta NQ on the 9.
Okay, NQ just put in its first green ready DD.
Lower bands touch
Second one in a bit.
89.
Let's see. Mixer, and we had 1, 2. I'm gonna write home about quite yet.
On the 9.
Keep an eye on it.
Lower bands touch YM on the 30 on the 89. Upper bands touch YM on the 89 on the 89.
Okay, here comes large king timing. Second set here. Last one moved pretty well. Just came into masher touch. We got a green dot up top. We might get a pop-up here. I would expect that we would. Come down into a masher.
35.
The concern is we are jagged. There's jaggedness on the tape here. And is a second touch into it, so I do think we'll get a pop-up. We also got the green dot over here to help us with that, and the divergence to the upside. Just kind of waiting on a play to get in on an entry here. 2, 4, can't do a, there's not a 4 LDT here, no 4-legged dog trap. Got like 5 legs on that thing, 6. Does look like a nice, beautiful little doggy head if that were a 4-banger down. Again, right now I'm being extra cautious because I'm on my bonus, right? Remember, I'm literally just here waiting for my bonus. I am 3 trades, the win side, and now I'm just looking for that bonus to just kind of push it a little bit more, get a little bit more into the kitty on the final trade. All right, there's the green arrow. First sign of a shift.
On the 6.
Need to get the nerd off of red before I can roll with my arrow and get those two cooperated with each other. And just waiting on a play setup.
Double delta lower bands touch NQ on
Good morning, Pablo. Great to see you.
YM on the 3 dot NQ on the 89.
Okay, that is a super headshot short right here, but we've got green arrow and red on the other side, so I don't have those coordinated with one another, and I'm trying to wait for the best play I can possibly get here for my, it could be potentially my final trade for my bonus.
Lower bands touch YM on the 35.
Okay, we're neutral and green now, so we are looking to the long side there. I've got green arrow. Delta shift. Green 50 cent. Just a structure. Need an R2FA event.
Double delta NQ on the YM on the 3.
Red. So a lot of little conflicting items here. Waiting on something to cooperate. Still the best play there was that DDSR up top. And Could have got here a few more minutes earlier, so I kind of would have been prepared for that.
On the 3.
Okay, get ready. I am ready for a play. Late Nate. Juan David in the house. Good to see ya.
Enigma long on the YM on the 35.
Oh, is that an Enigma long? A tricky one. I'm gonna give it a shot here, but I'm not getting big on it here. Right into a shark back as well, so I got a shark back and an Enigma here, but we are strong sell on the nerd, so the nerd could be hanging this guy down. Nah, killing it. Yeah, so I said I was going to wait for the absolute best, but I mean, Enigma's pretty good on a shark back there, but retry area is going to be right here. So I'm going to draw a retry line in case we come back up there, but 1, 2, 3, let's see if we get a four-legged dog trap to help me out with that next play there, but those are both now. We went to red and red right now. Be a little tricky for that to occur. Oops.
Finger YM on the 30 double delta EM on the
Okay, it's fast, so since we're coming down fast, I don't think it's gonna last, right? Y'all know my thing. So this is what I think is gonna be the head fake. Wait for a play in there. Okay, there's retail stepping. We could play against that here in theory. Waiting for something on my cheat sheet. Remember, I'm not just jumping in. Need to see a cheat sheet. And this is the first Enigma that has not made it to its target, because even this one back here hit its target. That one hit its target. So this is the first. So we got a cadence of 1 currently. We'll watch the nerd, see if the nerd shifts. Currently red and red. Need to see if it's going to shift here and trap them in. Okay, I'm above my white line there for the 2 try. Coming fast, so I don't think it's gonna last. Let's see. Here's king timing. Green arrow. Red nerd.
Enigma long on the NQ5.
Kind of taking its time on the way down now, so I can't say we're gonna. I don't have a racquetball snap. Feel that one. Okay, we're red and red.
Enigma long on the NQ on the 9. Double delta EM on the 9.
All right, I'm going to close that one up there. Thought we might get a little bit more out of it. It just took its sweet time getting off the bottom. So we had 3 of a kind. I'm looking to rewind, right? Do I have 3 of a kind? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3. Get ready. Am I going to take that? I'm going to give it a shot. Wish I would have gotten a little bigger on it, but I'm not going to complain. 11.6. Remember, this is off of the 9s. So it's actually a very big play, even just for a couple of bars off of that one. So first Enigma got me on this one. Second Enigma, winner, winner, chicken dinner. And it would have been awesome if I held it a little bit longer all the way up to that cipher. That literally went 109 ticks. So again, that doesn't look like much, but remember, this is NQ, and we're on the 9s. So all the way up there to 109. And if I zoom in, and let's see how many ticks I got out of it. So I'm entering in down here, and we're exiting up here. I got 50 some odd ticks out of it. Like, you know, you could have held for longer, but hey, a 50 tick hold, I'd say that's pretty bold. It's a pretty awesome play. You have to wait a while for those 9s to show up, but when they show up,
Double delta NQ on the 9.
gonna be some exciting stuff there. Okay, so I got my bonus, and let's flip that one in there. Let's look at the stats. Overall, that puts me up over 5K on the day in total between the bots and myself. And I beat the bots. Let's go. Let's pull up. What's today's date? 14th.
Fib.ym on the 35.
Okay, bots took some decent drawdown there this morning. 414, there we go. Okay, overall, that's there on the day. Okay, so I like to look at 3 stats to see how things went there. So it's not just about win rate. Somebody like, oh, there's 75%. That's pretty good. No, not. Remember, that's not the whole story. Do not just soak in on one stat. Let's look at our other, what's my favorite 3? Profit factor. And max drawdown. Right. Now the bots again this morning, they did 2K, but they had to draw down. They went down as much as, well, let me see. Let me do just the bots here. I don't want to say that that was everything because it might have been partly me. Let's see. Nope, that was all bots. So the bots did have a significant drawdown there this morning. That's the biggest drawdown we've seen in a while. It looked like, from what I could tell, it was that NASDAQ dropout early in the morning on those. It looked like NQ was quite a drop off on that. And at the analysis there, yeah, it's it definitely took a dip in there on the bots, but in total for the day, yeesh, learn to love the dips. So let's look at Cyborg. So just me. That looks nicer. So yeah, so there's me for the day. Still had some dips. Gotta learn to love the dips, and that's what real trading kind of looks like. You're not going to win them all, and keeping your losers small and executing. So total out there for the day. So we had winner, had a loser in there. Oh, you know what? We actually had another. There was another. We had a loser in there. That small loser right here earlier on that Enigma. Remember that one? So this is how the day played out here for me. Winner, loser, winner, loser, and a winner. All right, so Mentorship Monday. There were some topics on top of the ones we've already covered that I wanted to cover. I think it was in the Ask Questions section. If you guys have a question, pop them there in the chat. Got a topic you'd like to cover? That, and then I'll go into the Ask Questions section as well. One of the questions was, when is boot camp? The 21st. Next Monday, we start boot camp. You want to sign up? iGoxPro.com/ oh, did I do it? Reboot? I forgot. Did I do boot? Oh, my apologies. It's /reboot. I think earlier I said boot camp. algoboxpro.com /reboot. Not /boot camp.
That is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
I think I was sleep deprived from the morning. Don't blame me. And I'm dealing with sunburn and died too long. Got the allergy head going on there. Boot camp access form. So head on over to our site there, Boot Camp Access. You got kickoff April 21st. 10 days of expert training. Sessions start at 4:30 p.m. after the close. Also, it's recorded and available for replay. What you'll learn, everything from A to Z. We'll walk you through the entire ALGO system, including setup, live strategies, execution, real-time market insights. Fill out the form. It's a quick one. Pastor Mike's live day trading said, could you please explain the boot camp? Sure did. Absolutely. Got it. Got any other specific questions around it? Do let me. Okay. Other ask questions section.
Lower bands touch YM on the 35. Lower bands touch NQ on
All right, let's see. Jan, are you here? Jan956. I'm going to answer, I think I'm going to answer your question next. If you are here, Jan, if you can say hello in the chat or say I'm here. If you are here, I'll try to answer the question anyway. But this is a relatively in-depth question. This is going to be a big one. You're going to do a lot of push-ups.
Double delta EM on the 6.
Mars, can we try before we buy? How much is the BC? Bootcamp. Bootcamp is free for anybody who got the Dream Panel and the first 200 folks that sign up. Hey, I appreciate that. It looks like you did pay attention. I like it. I agree, Cyborg is the best. And some of these things, you know, I actually was talking to my wife about this. I said sometimes I read things improperly over text. We all do this, right? So I'm going to apologize in advance to some of you guys who I have been maybe overly harsh with on chats, particularly here in, because I'm realizing, like, you know, some people are like, hey, well, I didn't mean it that way. Oh, okay, my bad. Like, it's hard when all I can read is this, right? I only get context of what you wrote right here. And sometimes I may not catch the context properly, and I'm like, okay, well, and of course you might have just been typing it the fastest way possible. You're just trying to, like, you know, so you're more short or curt with the conversation and the style or whatever you're saying. Yeah, lost in translation, you know, whereas if I could hear your tone, your voice inflection or whatever, had a chat, then it might come across differently. But I have had some of the world's most ridiculous trolls to the point where literally, you know, having to take them to court. Speaking of 15K, you know, the ICT taking things way too far and getting his little minions to come over and threaten people's families. And, you know, I ended up suing them and have a $15,000 judgment against someone who can't even afford it. Old Shane Field sitting over there in his mom's basement, but feeling like, oh, I'll show them, I'll be cool with my ICT kids and let's threaten Vinny. And so, you know, I got issues with, like, I have had PTSD from the levels of, you know, threat level attacks. And I'm just like, it ain't even PTSD, bro. Cause I don't even think of it. Like, I ain't stressed about it. I just get livid about it. I go off. I am a very defensive person. I would rather rip heads and ask questions later. Hey, Ian's here. oh wait, there's some major red flags here. So for me, it was kind of like, well, let me investigate. Let me see if anything. Okay, well, he's talking about a 50% full pullback on a fib. Well, I'm like, that's not magical, but he's talking like it's magic, and I'm like, it's a 50% pullback and a 50 in the 618. Okay, everybody knows. I don't want to say everybody, but at my level at that point, anybody with basic levels of understanding of the markets is going, okay, the 50 and the 618. Yeah, it's a zone. Well, I got a full auto J hook for that. I mean, J hook automatically draws that for me. That's not magical in any way. And then later on, he comes back and he's got this FVG thing. Like, you just renamed a fast movement a cave area. Like, you're just trying to rename caves to something. Oh, FVG, fair value gap. Nonsense. But when he and I, first ran in, I was on Twitter at the time, and I would challenge anybody to trade against ALGO. And I whipped some people handily, so much that they went out of business within weeks of me publicly destroying them in trading contests. Well, that didn't go over too well with some people. And so people started attacking my family, thinking like, well, that's our weakest point is my family, because Vinny's a family man and you can't beat my system, so let's beat the man. So ad hominem attack, threats, all that kind of whatnot. And ICT was right in the middle of that, enjoying the mockery, the disdain, the threats. And, he claimed, even to this day, he claims to be a Christian. Well, I was a Christian. I thought, well, he has created a voice in this area. And I reached out to him over DMs and was like, hey, you want to help me out here? Like, maybe tell these guys to cut it out. Like, you seem to be associated with these guys. Why don't you, can you help a Christian brother out? And just say something publicly, like knock it off. Well, he didn't. In fact, not only did he not knock it off, he didn't knock, he mocked. So he went even further and joined in with the idiots, which is no surprise. ICT's just jumped in the middle of the box with all the idiots anyways, but we know more about him now. But at the time, I thought there was some level of respect, because I didn't know. I hadn't done the research on the guy yet to know that he wasn't worth all this money, and that he wasn't really a trader, and he was just pulling a giant fraud and deciding to go out there and speak confidently over himself and be the narcissist that he naturally is. And I eventually did some homework on the guy. I hired private investigators to find out who he is, where he is. And then I was the first to, I don't know if I was the first, but I must have been pretty close to the first who discovered that he was living in a tiny apartment / rundown Caddyshack HUD building in Dundalk, Maryland. In one of it's like the scariest place in Dundalk, like in Maryland that you can get. Dundalk, you don't get worse than Dundalk, Maryland. I mean, you can. I don't want to say that. I'm sure there was, but according to Google, go look up Dundalk, Maryland, and see for yourself. And in some of his videos, you could hear the train tracks in the background. So he's living next to the train tracks, which is, again, like, expensive houses they're not going to be near train tracks. Okay, it's just not going to happen if you know anything. And he's over there claiming he's worth $750 million. Well, I'm like doing the numbers on that. I'm like, okay, so you're worth more than. I started going through all the movie stars and actors and actresses, and I'm like, so the guy is worth as much as the Kardashians. I have my doubts, but just in case, I mean, look, it's the trading industry, it's possible. So I was like, well, that should be easy to find. And so I sent private investigators, and they find out that the guy is living in a dump, and I'm like, this guy's a fraud. So that's where it began. You're asking where it started. There's a lot that goes into that. Now, Lesson Library breaks down to everything to get most people from hero to hero. Surprised the ICT has not claimed he went back in time, was kidnapped by Leonardo da Fibonacci. Yeah, well, it's funny. Somebody sent me over a clip of him this weekend on his Shotgun Saturday, and he said, hey, Vinny, is this true? And he sends it over and says that he was rich as a kid, and that he was paying for all his friends' movie tickets and whatnot because he was making all this money and trading. And I'm like, first of all, he's so dumb, or just thinks that y'all are so dumb that y'all will believe this, is that back in his day, he's like 50 plus years old. So back at that time, like, you didn't have electronic trading. You were literally having to phone in your orders. And you're going to tell me that he was making money phoning in his orders? Get out of here. No. And living in the dumps he was living in? No, absolutely not. Anyway, like, oh, I had to hide my money. No, you didn't. There are literally, your first house like was recorded because he signed up for whatever that's called when you buy your first time home buyer tax credit. First time home buyer tax credit, his house was like worth $123,000 and his down payment was like $500. He didn't have enough to even put down a down payment. Get out of here. Tell me you're worth millions. Get out of here, bro. You're just a liar. You are a con artist and you're starting in as the con artist, period. And then this whole thing of him being part of the spiritual realm, no, actually, it sounds like to me, from what, you know, my knowledge and understanding and study of things, to me, I would say that he became demonically possessed or gave himself over to the demons. This whole thing where he listened to the voices in his head that taught him how to do whatever he's doing. No, I think there might be a sell your soul type of scenario in there somewhere, because somebody at that disgusting level, it definitely wasn't, I smell no Christian level in him. And I mean, like, we're all filthy rags, okay? None of us are perfect, but I'm like, you have to have some kind of moral compass if you're truly a Christian. You can't just go out there and just repetitively, continuously do what he's doing, lying nonstop about every single thing that you could ever possibly do with no conscience around it. No, anyway, I'm going off on tangents. Sorry, I mean to go on the tangent there, but people were asking. I coded the algo. Yeah. Apparently runs all markets and couldn't code MT4, and he said he traded 2,000 contracts at the same time in the 90s. Yeah, get out of here. Like, such huge lies, saying that he bought his kids $500,000 houses, then find his son living. He wanted to be away from his dad, and he's living close to his stepdad in a trailer park, and he'd rather live in a trailer park next to his stepdad than be around his real dad. Like, it should tell you something, you know. So your kid's living in a trailer park, what, a $500,000 trailer park in a trailer? I got to see that. Okay, maybe the whole park was worth $500K, and ICT definitely didn't own it. Anyhow, just basically, you know, it was, I don't say it was easy to knock out his lies, but it was like, okay, let's check on any one of these. Are any of these validated? No, all of them were false. All of them were lies.
on the 3.
And then there was like no evidence of trading, and you know, he kept saying he was going to win the Robins. He lost the Robins like 5 times.
Lower bands touch YM on the
and never even got on the leaderboard. And the deal is that whole thing, then you come to find out why he was planning on it. Just the deal is the good Lord above just didn't allow him to even succeed in that in any way, form, or fashion, because he could have cheated that. He could have easily, like, come to find out with the Robins why he kept doing the Robins is because there was a way for him to cheat his way. And because first it hides everybody that didn't get on the board, and you can enter in with multiple accounts. Same thing that, you know, Larry Williams was doing, you know, entering in under his daughter's name, and then, oh, my daughter, oh, that's because I taught her. Yeah, right. You know, her account was long, his was short. Whichever one, you know, wins that year, high fives and says, I won. Creating 2 accounts in 2 directions, and then, you know, wait until there's some massively strong trend day, you know, and then being like, I made X number of dollars today, when your other account is exactly the negative on the other side of that. No, it's not. Anyhow, so back to the lesson at hand. The question was, will you teach the absolute basics of what a entry is? You know, that's not been my focus. I am focused on high-end algorithmic trading systems. But yeah, you might want to learn if you're struggling with what's a buy, what's a sell, but, you know, maybe ask your question. Is Jan even here? That's the other thing. It's like, if you're going to be a complete beginner, but you can't come hang out in the live streams to get your answers.
Double delta
Ooh, that's a double. Okay, so I would like to look for a short somewhere in here. We are coming into, we got 3 of a kind. So let's see if we get a play set up here on the rewind. That nose is running like crazy. It's disgusting. Chew. Okay, but now as she says she's going through the lessons, first question was, no, I'm not going to be going through like the absolute basics of like what's a short. Now I had answered some questions around that. We're going to deep dive understandings, traps for the market is trying to get. The main thing is yes, being able to understand traps and our two pillars, putting our two pillars together. What are our two pillars? Two pillars are structure and RTFA. And she's like, what's structure? And then I'm like, okay, well, I do teach that. Like, what's a structure? What are some structures? There's only so many ways for me to tell you that this is called a channel. That's a structure. It's like a shape. A shape or a pattern is a structure. There's only so many ways I can say that. Right? That's a channel. And I do teach these. That's a wedge. And then the edge is in the lower third. Like, I teach this stuff. But her question came with like implying that it's not taught. But here is what was interesting is I asked, like, well, what video are you on? She's like, I'm on lesson 3. And I'm like, what? Just hold up. So here's, if you're in this spot, do me a favor and hang tight a minute, all right? Get through more videos, okay? Don't throw in the towel on lesson 3. It takes me some time to build up. I got to build you up into everything. Like, we're not there. The reason that it's, I mean, the whole system, everything, full advanced, every scenario, including full auto, is, I believe, all in all, 111. It is 111 videos as of today's date. And if you're at number 3 and you're like, I didn't learn it yet, I'm not getting it. I mean, maybe I can do something better for you, but maybe it's because I didn't do the prereq. But if you just keep going and you get to about video number 10, I have a feeling you're going to get it. At least get to 10. Okay. But most people have a eureka moment at day 90. Okay, day 90 in the program, like something happens. And to mind you, it doesn't take you that long to go through the videos because the video trainings, tops is going to be like 40 days. If you're just taking your sweet time, in my opinion. Some of those video. Oh, Jan is here. Yay, Janelle, great to see you. Okay, so my apologies. Okay, so I'm talking through your question there. Hang with it until we get to, like I said, a few more videos in, right? And I think you said you're on video 4 right after that, which is, but how about this? What kind of, do you have specific questions around like buy, sell, like where are we in that? But if you are holding with the program, you're going to understand like we've got structures and then RTFA events. And an RTFA event is going to come in the form of a cross of some type. There are white crosses and then there are red, green, blue, and pink. And then I go in depth later on. Again, don't just think like not get them in day 1. Later on, as we get to those and we get into the details of them, you're going to know like what's the difference between a level 20 and a level 1, which are on the opposite ends. And what's the highest that you're almost ever going to see is going to be like a 21. But although, come to find out, like after hours, wild stuff has occurred, and we've seen like George and I think we were on one night late, and we was like, dude, I see a level 80 at 3 a.m. And it was like, whoa, it's crazy. Well, it's because it's a relative thing. Like all of a sudden some, it's like thin all night, and then boom, some massive spike. So 80 ends up being, it's because of it's relative to what has been going on around it at the time, which is why our system is continuously optimizing every 4 minutes. The system's getting a new optimization, which is also why it's important for you to keep your clocks synced. So make sure if you don't, at least on a regular basis, kind of sync your clock. Don't overdo it, because I've had people do this. Well, Vinny, if syncing your clock is good, I turned on this thing that syncs my clock every 5 seconds. And you're wondering why your system's all like locking up every 5 seconds. You're like, what is my system locking up every 5 seconds? Because you're constantly trying to sync your clock and changing. It's weird. Don't do that. Sync your clock once a day, and that's it. Okay. Well, if syncing your clock is good, I'm doing it 30,000 times a day. Don't do that. I'm trying to help you out. More is not always more. People who joined AlgoBox now are so spoiled. We had to draw our timing lines in manual back in the times. Yes. So this is where some of that is going to go away as we go into the boot camp, because like as Els is saying, some of my old videos, like I'm literally teaching you how to hand draw SMLK timing lines. Now, I think it's useful. I don't always say it's useful. I think it's fun to know how the sausage is made. Like, why do the SMLK timings work? Like, what are they drawn from? And so going back in time, in the old videos will be there for the people who want to go in depth. But there are some people who like, I want to know how to play. I want to know how to trade, execute the system, execute on the system. And yes, I understand the structures are drawn for me. So we talked about a couple of structures. So, you know, basic stuff that I think everybody knows, but maybe not. Okay. Oh, and now we don't even look at these anymore. This is another thing about the wedges. Like, this is almost irrelevant. Like, when was the last time I looked at a wedge? You guys haven't heard me talk about wedges in forever because we don't need them because we have advanced structures. So what's an advanced structure? An advanced structure would be something like this. And actually, that's not perfectly drawn. You know what I'm saying? Like, this pivot should be over here a little bit. Go up this way. But anyhow. So an advanced structure with a PRZ, where the PRZ is called the potential reversal zone. Now these we're going to teach you. But if you're on lesson 4 and you're like, I don't understand, please, just wait. Keep going through the training. Just keep going. Hold your, like, make questions as you go, but watch, you'll answer them. If you want to do them in every video, write them down, but they'll get answered in future videos. So you'll get a question in video number 1. Hopefully it's answered in number 2 and 3. Get a question in video 2. Hopefully it's answered in 3 and 4. And 3 and 4 and 5. You know, give it a couple of videos to catch up. Now some of them are going to be longer, like way down the line. Like if you're like, well, he said something about a shark structure in lesson 2. And I don't talk about harmonic structures till lesson 31 or something like that in depth, then you're going to be like, what in the, but I try not to do that. Like we have things like an HMD that I talk about basically even in the beginning trainings, I think like on video 7. So just hang tight. But if you're at 4 asking for more, hang tight, like get through a little bit more, just keep going, get through the core, because lessons 1 through 6 are the core. Then let's concern ourselves with that. So this is an advanced structure, which would be things like our harmonics. Okay, cipher, crab. You'll hear things like, oh, the different animal patterns. You're like, whoa, we got a bat, and we got the crab. We got a deep crab. We've got sharks. These are all things that, you know, swim and they're animals and they fly. And so, okay. But yes, the advanced structures, we're looking for the PRZ. If you really want to know, all I need is the PRZ, the zone, potential reversal zone. Where's the potential for it to reverse? And then when an RTOFA event occurs, if you really want to boil this whole thing down into a couple of steps, I want an RTOFA event to land with a structural location, and that's it. Those are our 2 pillars. That's what's generally forming a strategy entry for us, but our system is automatically doing all that work for you. We're automatically doing the technical analysis for you. We're automatically drawing the automatically drawn regression channels for you. We're automatically drawing the complex structures of harmonics for you. Then R2FA events, analyzing the tape down to the time and sales level, done for you. Instantaneously drawing them in a format that on your screen can give you a directional bias for you, right? And so you get to focus on execution, size of your play, entry, where are you at in your trade count, what's your P&L currently, because those are all things that you do need to, as a human, I need to keep track of all that. But imagine I'm keeping track of all that and I'm having to, okay, can I draw the harmonic, can I draw the structure, can I draw the thing, can I look at the time of day, where, you know, all of that. And then when we've got this nice little filtering system for you too, because you want to be with the nerd. You want to go, okay, if I'm trading the NASDAQ, well, I want to know what are his, you know, brothers or sisters doing right now. So on NASDAQ, I want to know what's the ES and the RTY and the Dow, what they're doing. I have simplified that, done that for you, right? It's done for you in the direction filter of the nerd. Currently, we just shifted over to sell side on all 4 of the instruments? Are we in an accumulation distribution zone? Now, that's another concept. We'll get to a video. You will come to a video where you're like, oh, when Vinny's talking about ACDC, accumulation distribution. Oh, okay. How do the markets generally work? We're going from accumulation zones, price moving like this, to distribution, then going to another accumulation zone. Okay. And in between here is where our biggest plays are going to come. Not all of our plays. Big plays come through the distribution leg. For the big plays. We'd love to catch that leg right there, right? On the upside. So we want to see for a trap. You'll hear me looking for traps down here. What are some things that identify a trap? Getting some retail offsides on a move. Something that's fast. All my little phrases that I teach you along the way, you'll kind of hear these going on. Okay, so we might want to like, oh, head fake. Yep, looks like, oh, it's going strong down, and then lift off while they got all these trapped, and all of a sudden their stops get run and push and push and push and push and push. Those are some of our best plays, and we can Dr. Seuss entry on the way up, right? You'll hear me talk about Dr. Seuss. Now, that requires some size, and you may not be doing that when you first start. But there are techniques around getting better at being able to do this. And we talk about market replay and your practice on how you'll be practicing those. But this is just generally how markets operate. And, you'll learn this through, again, we'll teach you all this, but get through, even this to understand accumulation distribution. I wait till later on to teach you through that because there are plays inside of an accumulation zone. So down here, for instance, one of ours is called the DCR. Right? What's DCR? Type it there in the chat. What is DCR? Pop quiz. What is a DCR? What does that stand for?
Enigma long on the YM3.
So if we've identified a zone and we get a double cross, it's called a double cross reversal. Yep, I see it. Ian typed it there. Quick on the typing. Great job. Yes. Double cross reversal. So how do I know the difference between a double cross reversal versus a DCDM? Double cross, double move. If it happens at the bottom of a channel, I expect that it will return. And so on a DCR, what's my target one? And you'll learn all this. If this is too much for you, it's okay. I'm just doing a summary of things that you're going to learn as you go through the training videos. Hopefully to encourage you to just keep going through the videos to okay, I'm going to get to that part when I get there. I do recommend that you take notes. I said this in the first sets of videos. I think one of the concerns when I asked you hey, what's your method and your choice for taking notes? And you're like, oh well, I just jot some things down. That's not note taking. Jotting is not noting. Okay, I hate to put that, but again, not everybody's a note taker, and it's okay. But you need to figure out what is your best way to learn and how are you going to retain it. I recommend, from having a lot of experience around learning things, you gotta screenshot, label, and really have something where you have even the act of writing those notes locks it into your brain. There is a translation because your brain has to go, I need to understand this in order to write it down. If you think that you're just absorbing it by listening, kicking back and, well, I was listening to Vinny's videos while I was kicking back like this on my couch and my feet up on my couch and eating some popcorn, and on occasion I'm like, oh, that's neat, and oh, let me jot something down real quick. I don't know that you're going to catch it. And I don't know. You tell me at the end of it, and I'm looking for feedback. At the end of your session time there, call me up, give me some feedback, let's talk about it, and hopefully you're like, you know what, I know it was scary at first, but yes, as we got out, I got to video, whatever video number it was, you had this light bulb moment, get to video number 20, or I hit video 40 and it kind of put it all together, or I saw this live stream where when I heard you talk about the 2 pillars and then I saw you execute on it in a live stream. That's when the moment happened for me. It will, in my opinion, I think it's going to happen regardless of whether you take notes or not. By the way, I do think it will happen. It's just a matter of how fast and how long it lasts in your brain. I think that the act of taking notes itself is actually what locks it in. That one more time. The act of taking notes is what locks it in because of the translation from your mind through your arms into your fingers and typing something, creating something on your screen. That is what locks it into your brain. Our brains are designed to cast things off, which is why you don't remember every single thing. Like your brain is constantly trying to filter stuff out that it doesn't need to take care of, it doesn't need to worry about. And the stuff that gets locked in are things that become habits, and that requires some extra work to get it in.
Lower bands double delta on the 89. Lower bands touch YM on the 89.
But yeah, don't be overwhelmed if you didn't catch it. Like, well, wait, I didn't just learn everything you just said right there. And I didn't know what he meant right there. Because go through the videos. Just trust me. You'll understand. So somebody asked right there just a minute ago, said, what's the difference between a DCR and DCDM? You'll learn it in the training. Remind me, Marcine, I forget. Are you a member yet? I think you said you were going to be a member. Double cross, double move versus DCR. There are two scenarios. Like I'll just run through them right now. Like, and there are others, okay, but I'll give two big examples right here. So this is why I say it's important to identify an accumulation zone. Okay, so if we're in a zone now, lately, if you've been watching the markets, it's been extremely hot. And so you don't have much of this. We haven't had much in, it's literally, the market's been like, lately, market's been like, oh, right? It's like, there's like no accumulation zones anywhere, ever, right, lately. And so you're like, and that's why it's important to be able to be flexible and have practiced multiple types of markets. But most of the time, like 70 to 80% of the time, the market will move into a zone. Oh no, I just delete the chat off the screen. I'll come back to it. Okay. So identify the zone, and as price comes into your zone, this is why it's important, because you're like, well, how do I know between double cross and a double DCDM? So initially, every double cross should be thought of as a DCDM. So what's your default? Default, expect DCDM. Okay. However, what are some things that will go to DCR? The option number 2. Number 1, DCDM. Just assume we're going to get a trap, and that is an identifying factor of the DCDM. First thing on a DCDM, go watch the videos. Do you see an obvious trap that looks like, oh, that smoked somebody? Okay, something moves really fast to an area. You're like, oh, busted. And then boom, here's a double cross up here. Now I'm looking for that to, here they go. They're trying to save themselves, and we get that target on a double cross, double move. And that is our default, is double cross, double move. However, if it's not as much of a trap, let's see how far back this can let me go. Oh, they've improved on this little tool. Oh, I love it. They're letting me go all the way back. Okay, cool. So if we have been doing this, and so up here, we end up seeing a double cross up top, and you're like, oh, it's a double cross, double move. But then you realize, oh, wait, this has been very jaggedy coming up in here, and I saw like there's a pivot over here. There's been a pivot right here. And if you don't know how to identify this zone, that's another thing. Like, okay, so brand new person, you do need to know that between pivots, and I talk about this, I show you how to draw the zones. It's later on. Be like, how does Vinny draw the zone? In fact, there are some in the ALGO Box clips. Like Eddie's got a bunch that he had created a long time ago on the ALGO Box clips channel, that you can just binge watch those if you want. It's like, how does Vinny do and then fill in the blank. Little small stuff along the way. We're also in the ALGO Box official YouTube channel, doing a lot of the shorter videos, 1 minute, 2 minutes at a time, for the reminders of things that you might need to know. So this one, how do we know this is a DCR? So this is going to be a DCR default when we are inside of a zone. And so if we came down here and there was double cross, like I'm not going to expect a double move out of that. I'm going to expect a return back inside. And what are my targets? First, I'm going to target in the middle of the zone. So I always just kind of mentally have a little midpoint of my zone. And so if I short up here, target 1, I want to go right here, or pull the whole thing off, depending on whether or not we are with the favorable direction. And I'll talk about this on DCRs. Is I want it with the direction. So if we are a red bias right now, then I'm going to hold this to target 2 all the way to the other side for target 2 to be the other side of the zone. If we are against it, then I'm only going target 1. So if we are currently green on, say, the nerd and favorable direction is long, but I can still take this short, but I'm only going for target 1, middle of the zone, because what can happen is oftentimes it'll come down, hit the middle of the zone, and then work its way back up, and then do this several times before it comes back down. And then right down here, we hit, and boom, we get a big one down here with the direction. That might be too much. I hope it's not. This is a summary. Remember, this is not the whole video. Go watch the full videos around differences between DCR and double cross, double move. But in general, it is as simple as this. DCR, if we are inside a zone and it is a double cross showing at the top or the bottom of a zone, not in the middle, but if it is at the top or the bottom of a zone, like this or like this, it's a DCR in general. Okay. Another one is this. This is the other one, is if I get price moving and zooming and it goes a big long leg like this, super long, and I get a double cross like this, some people are like, oh, it's a double cross, double move. No, this right here gives it away. Okay, if it looks like this and it's super long, generally this ultimately ends up being fast as well. Most of the time, a super straight leg like this, super fast, and you get a double cross up here, another scenario where I am defaulting to DCR instead of a double cross, double move. Everybody got it? Type a 1 if you're having fun and you get it. 2 if we need a little further review. But again, basically a big long leg, either direction, short or long. First thing I'm looking for, I want to reverse that off of a double cross on a really long leg. Now, some people are like, well, in the video you say it's a smooth leg into it. Yes, but not, I'm talking significant. You'll see what I'm saying. You'll run into these where significantly long leg into a double cross, and that's when I want to reverse. Otherwise, double cross, double move. Almost always by default. I see it drawn on the screen most of the time for us already anyways. DCDM by default. The only question is 2 scenarios where I've got a DCR. And especially if it's in the direction of, say, the nerd or the daily bias, like currently right now. Daily bias is shorts favorable, which I got you guys on the screen here. Show you that. So over here, remember this is going to be the daily bias. So the big plays currently short side have been all morning.
Fib.ym on the 9.
That was gold. Was that helpful? Another Mentorship Monday. Thanks for hanging out. For me, Pippi, Robbie, Lunchbot, Mod Squad, Curtis, G, and Eddie B. I am sending out the Big H-Town. See ya. Art team. Show these fine folks how it is done.
The old adage where, the individual investor doesn't have a chance because the institutional investor has better technology, better information, and, more money and better opportunity, I don't think it's real anymore. I think the edge is on the individual investor because they're small, they're nimble, they can trade, they can use, they have better front-end technology.
Don't waste your time. Leave the technical analysis to us. You just play the game.
Forex is littered with crooks, black hat guys, all this kind of shifty characters and companies trying to extract money from your pocket and stick it into theirs. And one of the things that they do is operate these Forex signals.
Delta 5 Weiland. Long. Look for long. Harmonic pattern. Pick up. One down. On freeze. Order filled. Target filled.
Audio Jungle.